Growing emergency in Eugene. The Professional Firefighters Union says there's simply not enough ambulances, and it's putting the community at risk. In tonight's special report, KECI 9 News reporter Amber Wilmarth shows us why crews say the deficiency could have dire consequences.
Medic 1 here at the fire station downtown is Eugene's busiest ambulance, responding to about 6,000 calls a year. It's one of 3 24-hour ambulances in the city of Eugene, but crews say that amount is simply not enough. A call for help in a city with a growing number of emergencies.
The ambulances get a lot of miles on them. They get worked really hard. They're running all over town.
And running from one end of town to the other happens all too often, setting off another call for help. Crews in Eugene say there's a growing emergency right in their department.
Our current deficiencies in the system and where we need additional capacity, it's in the city of Eugene.
Mike Caven is the president of Lane Professional Firefighters.
We represent all the professional firefighters in Lane County.
He says a study of the Eugene Springfield Fire Department over the past few years shows that the city of Eugene needs more ambulances and paramedics. Right now, the city operates 3 24-hour advanced life support ambulances.
We have all of our equipment in here, pretty much anything you could ever need.
Eugene also has 2 part-time basic life support ambulances, but Caven says it's still not enough for the amount of people they serve.
The city of Springfield serves roughly 65,000 people compared to the city of Eugene with a population of 160,000. 3 ambulances.
The 3 Springfield ambulances have been coming to Eugene's aid. Last year, they left their neighborhoods to cover calls in Eugene on 30% of their dispatches.
Crews are operating at capacity. When we're over capacity, we have automatic and mutual aid agreements that we use to make sure we have coverage for our community.
Fire Chief Joe Zaludek says rural districts also help. Crews with Lane Fire Authority say they've been making the commute.
They need more ambulances to cover those calls, and that's why we're running mutual aid and automatic aid into Eugene Springfield more often than Eugene Springfield's running mutual aid out here.
Fire Chief Terry Nye says they have 2 24-hour ambulances and just staffed a 3rd one that runs from 7:30 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon weekdays. He says it's already making a big difference.
That was a code 3, what we call a code 3 transport. That means with lights and sirens, so that was a critical patient. So that was a perfect example of a time that getting that ambulance to a patient here in Veneta 7 or 8 minutes sooner than the one out of Franklin would have done may have made the difference.
Because during emergencies, time is of the essence.
We need to make sure that the residents in the city of Eugene don't have to wait an exceptionally long time for an ambulance when they're experiencing a time-dependent emergency.
According to their study, Eugene needs to add 3 ambulances to not only improve response time, but to also ease their paramedics' workload.
In 24 hours, it's not uncommon to have between 12 and sometimes 24 calls for service. So it's a lot of work, and it keeps people very busy.
So this is the main door that we use to go inside the ambulance.
Firefighter paramedic Heidi Straub has been working with the department for the past 3 years.
I would generally sit here while I'm with the patient so I can talk to them, interact with them, keep an eye on them, check their vitals.
And says Medic 1 also makes big commutes.
We even transport people from a lot of the rural areas. We go up the McKenzie River, we go out to Pleasant Hill and Lowell, and so those transports can be really long.
As the city works to finalize its budget for the next fiscal year, Caven says they're asking the budget committee to increase their funding. He says they could make do with 2 more 24-hour ambulances.
We've looked at the opportunity that the city has with their reserve funds, with the Comcast settlement, and said this is the right time, as far as we're concerned, is utilize some of that money, put your investment into the system.
We have done a lot of work to study the level of service across all of our areas, and we recognize that EMT and firefighter services are below probably what they should be for cities of our size.
Councillor Chris Pryor says their challenge is figuring out where the money would come from.
Since it's ongoing funds, we don't have a lot of flexibility in that category. So if we were to beef up one part of the city, EMTs or firefighters, we would have to determine what other part of the city's function we would decrease.
He says councilors will continue to look at different policies on how they can decrease one service to pay for another. But for Caven, The answer to that call is already clear.
We're talking people's lives on a daily basis, that we need to have those resources out there to help them get to the hospital.
They have put that request in for additional funding to the Budget Committee. Councilor Pryor says the city's budget needs to be approved and ready to implement by July 1st. In downtown Eugene, Amber Wilmarth, KEZI 9 News.